Power to the people, everybody. And just got a couple of little things to say. Number one, for all my people out there, just imagine if everybody was born into some kind of privileged situation. Just imagine that. See, if you're black, right, the percentage or the ratio of you being born in America into a privileged situation is probably little to none, unless you have a family who's set things in line since like right after the slavery days and was just like buying property and land and just doing the right thing and like building businesses. Then you would be fortunate enough to like grow up, being able to like not go through so many struggles. Like, I mean, really just can't be mad because can you really be mad at Blue Ivy Carter for like being born Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter? Like, you really can't be mad at that. I mean, her parents are who they are. She just so happened to be born into like a privileged royal situation, which is a nice percentage of black people who can actually say that. But when you're white, you know, more times than less, you're born into a privileged situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't matter. Like, white people, for the most part, when you ride around town and you see nice houses, they normally belong to white people. When you see nice cars on the highway, when you're driving, the larger percentage of those cars belong to white people. When you go in, you see businesses and, you know, people buying shit at Home Depot. It's a large group of just privileged white people who don't even look at it like it's a privilege. You know what I'm saying? Because to them, it's like, okay, mom and dad, had businesses growing up, or I'm living off of a trust fund, and I grew up not knowing what it's like not to go out and have fun or get a brand new car on my birthday. Like, these things don't seem like great accomplishments to white people because they were born into these privileged situations. Not so much us as black people. We sometimes we be born into like teenage hands, like a young girl who's been like dropped out of school and got with some knucklehead who had a baby with and didn't really have a future to go off of, and try to do the best that she can with the lack of education that she has, and whatever that child grows up to be, you just pray for them and hope it's for the best. These are the things that we're more or less plagued with when being conceived in this world, and being put out there to like be somebody or do something constructive. We don't really come from the privileged situations here. So to not see the unfairness or the unjust, and just that alone, like I said, you can't be really mad at the percentage of white people who were born into privileged situations, because not all of them are. Some of them, you got trailer trash and whatever you want to call them. They born into like, you know, a regular, poverty stricken environments sometimes, but I'm talking about the mass majority. You can't really blame them from the ones who don't know no better. Like, if you let's just say if I was white and I was born, my mom and dad worked hard or whatever, they got inheritance money, and I was raised in this big old house not knowing why, and I was able to get things and go places and travel the world and see all of the things that I would like to see, without even knowing why I'm doing it. I really couldn't blame myself for seeing these things. I mean, even if I did recognize the injustice, the injustice that goes on with other ethnicities and why they gotta work so hard and not get anything, I would be looking at it like, okay, I'm sorry that they got to go through that, but I mean, what you want me to do? Like, like denounce my throne, denounce my parents, like for what? Like I didn't know anything about what was going on, and I'm not trying to give white people a out and saying what I'm saying. I just want us to all look at it in a respectable light. Like, you think Blue Ivy Carter is gonna feel, ashamed for recognizing who her family or who her father and mother is? Just, why hate on her? She didn't, know what she was being born into. She didn't know the caliber, of her what her mom and dad have accomplished here in America. So she's living off the fruits of their labor, just like any other, parent would want to do with their children. You work hard so that your children don't have to go through what you go through. But the only thing that I disagree with is that we have to go through so many hurdles to get that, and nobody understands or fails to understand why is that so. Because we don't own anything, and we don't have the privileges that other people get naturally. The equal opportunities that people get naturally. See, we would have more black kids growing up privileged if we had an understanding, or if they had an understanding of what equal opportunity was. And they don't give us that. They say it's here for us, but they don't really show us what door. They don't point the door out and where to go get it. They rather say, hey, look, if you ain't got it, then that's your fault. But it's really not our fault, because equal opportunity, you shouldn't have to work for equal opportunity. It should be equal, you know, and you should just judge people based upon who they are, and where they are in their morals and stuff to that nature, not because of the color of our skin or, you know, whatever the fact, whatever the case may be. That should never ever be the issue, ever. So yes, I'm not angry at the privileged people who don't know why they're privileged. I'm angry at the people who know why they're privileged and still teach them or try to instill in them the injustices by telling them things like, yeah, you don't have to go down to that level. That's them, making other people look bad just to make themselves look better. That's uncalled for. White people, if you're privileged and if you come from wealth and money, you don't teach your kids to stay away from people who don't have what they have. You don't say, hey, look, black people are this, they're that. Our ancestors used to slave them or make them do because they couldn't do for themselves. You don't put these things into a mind that doesn't even know why they privileged. You're trying to build up a hatred for no reason, which makes you the person that needs the reality check or the adjustment. Not so much the child that you're trying to poison. So yes, if you're gonna blame anybody at this point, let's start blaming the parents of the parents who've made black people look so bad or made us look like we're not worthy of equal opportunity. It's not the ones out here right now that's trying to like say, well, what's the big deal? They're not the problem. It's the ones who've been fed and taught to show that hatred towards us. So we just got to get better at understanding, the people and places and things around us before we just get so irate and so negative on why things are the way they are. Because the more we get that proper understanding, the more we can take that and mold it into what we should be and not what people deem us to be. And that's just the way it's supposed to be, my people. Power to the people.